Hi guys, my name is Katie Sidebottom, and the best practice I'm going to be talking to you guys about today is wait time. So I'm first going to start with what is wait time. Wait time 1 is the time that a teacher waits before calling on a student in class. The idea is that you give the students time to raise their hands before you call on them, and they have time to think about their answer. Wait time is the amount of time given from the teacher's question to the student's response. So why exactly is wait time important? Wait time is important because it has a lot of positive effects on student learning outcomes, and it also affects student behavior positively. Increased wait time can be related to many student outcomes, and these can include improved achievement and retention, greater numbers of higher cognitive responses, longer responses, increase in self-confidence, volunteering and guessing increases, a decrease in interruptions, and it also increases student to student interactions. So these are a lot of positive things that can come from using wait time in your classroom. So what would an acceptable amount of wait time be? Studies show that a reasonable amount of wait time would be a minimum of 3 to 5 seconds. So for lower cognitive questions, students would be given around 3 seconds, and for higher cognitive questions that's going to take a little bit more time to process and think about your answers, students should be given around 5 seconds to respond. This gives students a better chance to recall material and to come up with a quality response. So therefore it improves their learning because they have more time to think about what they want to say. They can think about the question more in depth, and so they're improving learning by doing that. This part's really important, modifications for exceptional students. There's lots of modifications that can be made to wait time for students that have disabilities. Modifications should be made to the amount of wait time given to students with different disabilities. So, for example, I said an English language learner would need more than 3 to 5 seconds of wait time, obviously, because they need more time to process what was just said. If they don't speak English naturally, they don't know exactly what the teacher is saying. Therefore, it's going to take them a little bit longer to understand the question that was just asked so they can understand what the teacher said and then come up with an answer to the question. This can also be true for students with intellectual disabilities, students with specific learning disabilities, and all kinds of other disabilities too. These students may need more time to think about the questions and their answers. Another example I thought of was another thing I thought of was that students with specific learning disabilities may need more time, say if they have a specific learning disability in reading. So they may need more time, more wait time given in reading, but maybe they're fine in math and work at a general education level on their grade level. And so maybe they don't need as much wait time in math. So it kind of depends on the student and it depends on the disability. There is another type of wait time, and it's called wait time 2. Wait time 2 is the time period after the student's initial response and before the teacher's reaction. So just like wait time 1, the average length of time of wait time 2 should also be 3 to 5 seconds, but obviously that can be modified as well. The purpose of wait time 2 is to give students the opportunity to elaborate or to complete their answer. This could lead to really good discussion. So say you ask a question in class, like students, what part of the cell is the brain of the cell? So you would give them the amount of wait time that they need, whether that be 3 to 5 seconds or whether that's longer for a student with a disability. You would wait for their response, hear their response, and then you would wait a little bit longer after they answer the question, just in case they want to elaborate on their answer and say a little bit more. Or maybe another student wants to elaborate on what they said and add a little bit more to that answer and with their own answer. So that could lead to really good discussion throughout the entire class and also improve the students' learning. So the materials that you would need for wait time really is just time, obviously. That's not really a material. But some things I thought of that you could maybe use to help you out would be a timer or maybe cue cards. You could use a timer to make it easier as a teacher to keep consistent on wait time. So if you're in a general education classroom and you don't have any students that need modifications in wait time, they all just need 3 to 5 seconds, then you can have a timer or maybe look at the clock and keep track of how much wait time you're giving students and make sure it's consistent for all students and for all of your questions. And then a timer could also be used if you need to make modifications and maybe give a student a little bit more wait time to make sure that you're actually giving them those extra seconds that they need. Cue cards could also be used as a way for students to answer questions at their own pace. So you could give all of your students cue cards, which may say there may be a card for A, B, or C, and you ask them a question and you give them options A, B, or C, and then they can work at their own pace and think at their own pace before coming up with an answer and hold that answer up with a cue card. So that wait time would be based off just how much time they need. So yeah, that's wait time. These are my sources. And the 3 formative assessment questions that I have for you all is, do you think the 3 to 5 seconds of wait time should be longer or shorter, or do you think it should stay the same, just stay at 3 to 5 seconds? And why do you think that? Question number 2 is, how does utilizing wait time help the teachers? So coming from a teacher standpoint, how can that help you? And number 3, how do you think wait time should be changed for students with disabilities? So kind of how much time do you think should be given to students with disabilities? Thank you guys.